Yo, what up, ladies and gentlemen? Infinite Vibes here to help raise your awareness. In this video, I'm going to be talking about spiritual bypassing, some booby traps and different things like that that you might experience when you're beginning your spiritual journey. All right. So, number one is the guru trap. All right. I know there's a lot of people out there, who they'll see a video online. They might get motivated by that person. The person is speaking everything that they say. They basically join their following and so forth and so on. The reality of a guru is a real guru will guide you back to yourself, all right? And then they will then allow you to continue the journey on your own, all right? So when you see people who have like a cult following and thousands of followers or millions of followers and stuff like that, just definitely watch out for these people. Okay, these people are basically doing something known as energy harvesting. All right, they're vampires. All right, straight up. So a real guru is going to show you the ropes, show you how to get things done, and then let you run off on your own and handle it. Obviously, they will stay in close proximity and close contact with you to make sure that if you ever need help or assistance, that they're available to help guide you. Now, I'll give you an example of this. There was a time when I was staying at House of Guru Ramdas, and I was basically camping out. And I remember this man basically came out one day. I was there for maybe like 2-3 weeks, and he came out one day and he was just like, "Why are you still here?" And I was like, I'm wanting to learn, I'm trying to be a follower. And his response was, "You've learned everything you needed to learn and you need to get the fuck off my property." And I'll never forget that moment. It was a very pivotal moment, right? And I still go back, from time to time to this day. You know what I'm saying? So that is an example of a guru, all right? They're in close proximity. They'll guide you. They'll give you the ropes. They'll provide you with the information that you need, but ultimately they're going to let you figure it out, all right? So these people out here who are wanting to form cults, groups, agendas, they want you to like worship them and all that type of stuff, you need to watch out for that. 2, spiritual bypassing. So this trap is basically the aspect of like, it's all love and light, this frequency, like, why are you vibrating at a low frequency? You might have heard people say this type of thing before, and usually what happens is they utilize this type of thing basically to just bypass the fact that they don't want to have specific conversations, or they don't want to deal with perhaps some questions, the way that you behave, the way that you operate. They may not necessarily like something that you do. They may just not like you, and they just trying to basically tell you to fuck off, excuse my language. But instead of just being plain up about it and everything's all love and light and rainbows and unicorns and that type of stuff, instead of just being straight up to your face, they spiritual bypass. So, and you see examples of this, like people just taking a bunch of drugs because they want to connect to the enlightened path a lot more than necessary. These are just examples of like just spiritual bypassing. Oh yeah, I took a bunch of ketamine and got into a K-hole because I needed spiritual healing. Or I've taken ayahuasca like 500 times and it's really helped me out, and you should, you're not on my level. That type of shit, that's spiritual bypassing. All right, they have not really done the work. They're just drug addicts, and they look the part, and they're just saying a bunch of bullshit. So you gotta watch out for those people as well. 3, what's the next thing that I would say would be a spiritual booby trap? So we talk about the energy vampires, spiritual booby traps. Okay, going vegan. Okay, like this is like one of the main spiritual booby traps that I find, and I don't even want to say going vegan. It's just more so the whole diet thing. Okay, now when you are eating nothing but fruits and vegetables, all right, what you're doing initially is you're basically living on an alkaline diet. All right, you're tapping more into your light body. Okay, so for those of you who are looking to tap into your light body, the first step would be to eliminate anything that would basically create density within your food, within your body, basically. And that primarily goes down to food, music, environments, and things like that, right? But when you talk to these people and they're talking about vegan, you don't want to be a vegan. What you want to be is you want to be plant-based. Okay, there's a difference between being vegan and being plant-based. Okay, you have to understand that veganism, like impossible burgers and, you know, impossible sausages and all that type of shit, is is not really healthy for you. Matter of fact, there's a lot of soy in that, specifically for men. That's just like a bunch of estrogen that you're pumping into your body to push you to become a lot more feminine. Okay, and that's part of like the whole spiritual agenda. They want to. That's another thing too. I'll talk about that in the next point actually. But when it comes to dieting, all right, like you just gotta be very, very careful, very, very mindful. I would just say eat, and also diet, right? When I'm speaking about diet, I'm gonna pertain this to the environment you surround yourself in, the information that you take in, and the foods that you eat. All right. So when you go on a diet and you're trying to go onto a vegan diet, that's a major spiritual booby trap, specifically for men. All right. And honestly, women shouldn't do it either. You want to be plant based if that's what you're trying to do. Okay, I understand some people are all about, saving the animals and all that type of stuff. You can be plant based and not eat anything that is a living, breathing creature on this planet. And you will be super alkaline and you're going to be a lot healthier than going on a vegan diet. All right. You don't want to be vegan. That is another spiritual trap. The next trap I would say is the emasculation of men. All right. It's very important for you to understand, and I'm going to speak specifically to men in this aspect. Like, they're doing everything that they can to emasculate you. They don't want you to be in your masculine frame. And what I mean by masculine frame, I'm not talking about toxic masculinity. Okay, I'm talking about structure. I'm talking about discipline. I'm talking about order. I'm talking about, just like having a proper frame as a man. All right. And in society, like, that's something that we've moved away from for a little bit because of the rise of the divine feminine, but we're currently going back into that a little bit and finding that structured balance. Okay, I know a lot of women think that a lot of men aren't aware and aren't, woke, you know what I'm saying, for a lack of better term, or they can't see what's going on, but a lot of men do see. And this idea that you're a toxic human being because you want to uphold structure and you want to have a certain type of discipline or regimen, and you uphold specific boundaries, you saying the word no is extremely powerful, right? You not tolerating certain things is extremely powerful. And so having a masculine frame is extremely important. So when you go into these communities and everybody wants to be a divine feminine and they're pushing this agenda, that's another red flag that you want to watch out for. Okay. Next red flag is consistently going to raves and parties and, just doing things that are completely unnecessary. Like, I understand it's okay to go out there and have a good time. I'm not one of those people who say, no, all you have to do is like work all the time. No, go out there and have a good time, enjoy yourself, experience this life. Okay, like, you need to experience life. You need to experience what it's like going to some of these events. You need to experience what it's like to travel. You need to experience having these highs and lows in life. All right. That being said, being on a caravan type of lifestyle where you're going from one place to another and just consistently going to rave after rave after rave after rave is extremely unhealthy for your body. Okay, it's extremely unhealthy for a healthy spiritual lifestyle. Okay, so that would be another trap. Like, this consistent, we gotta go to every single rave that's happening, every single event that's going on, Coachella, like all these type of things. Okay, I get it. Go out there, have a good time, use discernment, space it out, plan accordingly, but don't just mindlessly just go to every single turn up that's taking place. Okay, this goes back to one of the points I made earlier about dieting. Okay, and that goes specifically to people and environments. Okay, so I believe that's 5 points. The next point I would say is always looking out for a sign. All right. Um, you know, obviously pay attention. Pay attention to the numbers and all these type of things. But this idea of I need a sign before I do anything, like that's gonna leave you in a perpetual state of psychosis, because you're consistently looking outside of yourself to validate a reason why you should be doing something, when deep down inside of yourself you know that you want to do a specific thing anyway, or you know you shouldn't be doing something anyway, but you find a sign and you allow yourself to go into these clipothic experiences, these psychosis type of experiences, because you saw a sign, you saw an angel number, or you saw a specific color, or you saw a cat or a dog or an animal, whatever. You saw something walk by and it made you think, oh, this is a sign that I must do something. Always go back to strategy and authority. If you're looking for a sign, this is where the human design comes into place. It's strategy and authority. Follow your strategy and authority. There's nothing outside of you that is going to give you the guidance that you need. Not a guru, not any of these people, any of these places, any of these things that you're doing. Your strategy and authority is going to give you that guidance. Okay, if you don't know how to get that, if you've never heard of that, if you want to know more about that, click the link in the bio. I will definitely guide you. All right, and again, back to point number one, I'm one of those people that will guide you, give you everything that you need, will be in close proximity to you, but I'm not looking for a cult following. Okay, so connect with me. All right, I'll put you on the right path, provide you with your compass. If you feel in resonance with me and you would like to continue the journey with me for a while, or have me be that guy, that's what I do for a lot of people, where every once in a while they come to me and they're like, yo, there's a transit going on, there's something taking place, I want to tap into my strategy and authority real quick. Can we have a fine-tuned moment, fine-tuned session? Then we can definitely do that. All right, but I will guide you, I'll point you in the right direction, and then we can keep it moving forward. All right, I've helped a lot of people, and this is why I do this stuff. All right, now moving forward, that being said, having a fixation on a specific modality. Okay, now you guys hear me talk about human design all the time. There's people who talk about astrology all the time, people who go with the tarot cards, whatever it is, or crystals, or whatever the case may be, right? Like, making anything your master is going to be a detriment. All right, I definitely follow my strategy and authority as much as I possibly can. That does not mean that like I live, breathe, eat, and shit human design all the time. All right, I do other things, believe it or not. Okay, I have other hobbies, I have other things that I'm interested in, and other things that I basically like to entertain myself with, or I like to experience apart from human design. All right, so I'm not just a human design guy, I'm a human being having a real life experience, and human design is one modality that I like to share with the world. That being said, the reason why I like this specific modality is because it talks about and it combines astrology, the I Ching, numerology, the chakra points. It combines all these various practices into one, and it gives you a blueprint. Okay, so that's why I utilize it, and that's why I recommend it. Okay, but the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I don't want you to connect with somebody, right? You guys have a cool bond, you're both lit up by one another, but because this person is an opposing astrological sign, you decide that you don't want to pursue a connection or a dynamic with them because they don't necessarily agree with you because of something that you saw online, right? Like, if you're a Leo, you swear that you can't be friends with what is it, a Sagittarius, or whatever, like a Virgo or whatever, because you guys just aren't compatible. You're limiting yourself. All right, you're really limiting yourself to specific experiences, places, and things that would possibly open up doors for you. You don't have to be friends with these people forever, but you just eliminating conversation with a potential new lover or a business partner or something like that because of their sun sign, just their sun sign, is ridiculous. All right, so that's what I mean by that. Okay, going into the numerology, like, oh yeah, like you follow the numbers, cool, okay, and you're absolutely obsessed, and like, you know for 100% sure that, you know, these numbers are telling you that this is what's going to happen. But a lot of times they don't. You know, like, human beings are you know, they have a lot of crazy anomalies to them. Okay, so you can follow your numerology to a T, you can follow this guidance to a T. I guarantee you there's going to be a point in time where you will have to revert back to your own internal compass. So again, this is why I suggest human design. But that being said, it's not the end all be all. Okay, you're a human being, you have emotions, you have a mind, you have the ability to think for yourself. So like, fixating on a specific modality is not going to solve everything. Okay, that's just the reality of life. All right, now I believe these are some points that are very valid. I may have skipped a few things. They may have not, you know, popped up in my mind. Again, this is straight channeling. Like, I just do these videos when I have the time. You know, I want to share this information with you guys because I want to create a nice community. I want to provide guidance and, you know, information for people who miss some of these things when they're beginning their journey. These are spiritual booby traps, all right? And these are things that I fell for. You know, I went into environments, you know, thinking that I must follow this modality, and if I don't, there's something wrong with me. I had this idea that, you know, this group of people, this cult leader was the right person, and I must follow that example of what it means to be a human being. I did the whole vegan thing. It was actually detrimental to my health, you know, but I continued doing it regardless, and later on realized, actually, no, you know, I grew up in another continent and I came to the United States, and this whole vegan thing, just this European aspect of, you know, getting food made out of soy in a factory and that being served to me as being healthy is not necessarily something that I agree with. Plant-based, for sure, all right? So again, these are just some guiding steps. Go ahead, like, subscribe, share. If you find this video informative, if you think that this was extremely helpful, definitely check it out. Check out my ebook as well, the Human Design Beginner Guide. I appreciate you guys. I want to give out a major thanks for those of you who purchased the book. Also check out the merchandise, the Jesse clothing line. It's a French street brand. We're going to be out in Paris. All right. We're going to be out in Paris at the end of June, Fashion Week. So definitely catch us over there. It's going to be a good time. Check out some of the merchandise as well. What else? Yeah, check out my services. The link is in the bio. You know, definitely hit me up. Tap into your blueprint. I have various ways to tap into it. I also provide sound body activations, light body activations, and emotional body activations as well, just to fine tune and regulate your entire nervous system, so you're not necessarily having a hard time with these quantum leaps that I talk about. Okay, a lot of people are dysregulated when it comes to taking a quantum leap. That's why you might take a leap, but then things end up falling apart or not working out for you know, on a full scale. And if you don't believe me, guys, like, look, just to be vulnerable with you, I went from, you know, property managing in Hawaii, all right, living a luxurious life, to going against my strategy and authority, you know, moving back to LA, you know, living a certain way that was not cohesive to my design, to living in a car for about 4 months, I think, to now I've manifested this. All right. And so the quantum leap is real. All right. You can make anything happen. Okay. You can really tap into the type of lifestyle that you want. This is not bullshit. I 100% live this. I've taught people, I guide people, and they live this as well. All right. Their life is fantastic, and they take these quantum leaps whenever they want. All right. So go ahead, book a consultation with me. If you are not sure that this is something that you want, you can always book a calendar session with me. You know, just talk to me. You know, we'll figure out what it is that you want. You know, like how I can best help you out. And, you know, if anything, you might just get a free chart done. Okay, so, you know, let's definitely connect. Check out some of my services, and I look forward to connecting with you guys. Praises and cheers to your Most Highness. before we end this off, actually, let's take a deep breath together. Let's take a few deep breaths together, all right? I want to teach you guys something known as alternate nostril breathing, okay? What this does is it opens your right hemisphere and your left hemisphere in your electromagnetic circuit. So it activates your feminine points and your masculine points, or the positive and the neutral, the negative points within your body, all right? So what you do is you take your thumb, you put it on one nostril, put your finger on your third eye, leave this one open, inhale through your nose, close the other nostril, open the other one up, exhale, inhale through the open nostril, close that off, open the left nostril, exhale, inhale again, close, open the other one, exhale, inhale, close it out, exhale. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the video. Praises and cheers.